Good morning. I'm Bob Brown, President of the Academy of Model Aeronautics. AMA is a community-based organization that was founded in 1936. AMA serves the nation's voice for approximately 175,000 modelers and 2,400 flying clubs around the country. Our members fly because it's an enjoyable hobby. It's also an educational activity. We're thrilled to see so many new people discovering the joy of model aircraft at the AMA Expo. We welcome everyone here. Today, we're excited to announce that the Experimental Aircraft Association is joining our Know Before You Fly program. This program is focused totally on safety and aviation. The EAA joins the campaign's three co-founders, the AMA, the Association for Unmanned Vehicle Systems International, better known as AUVSI, and the Small UAV Coalition. Our partner in this effort is the Federal Aviation Administration. EAA has lined up with the idea that they are going to help spread the word about safe and responsible use of unmanned aircraft. Together, the founding organizations represent a vast majority of UAS users and manufacturers. All the organizations have a mutual interest in promoting safe and responsible flying among all prospective users of the technology. That's why we created the Know Before You Fly campaign. It's basically to provide prospective users of unmanned aircraft with information and guidance they need to fly safely and responsibly. The campaign's hub is www.knowbeforeyoufly.org. Flying small unmanned aircraft might seem like the latest craze. If you realize it, it's not the latest craze. Model aviation has been around long before full-scale aviation. We expect all of those to enjoy aviation, but we expect it to be done in a safe way. With the decades of experience that the Academy has, we have focused on safe and responsible flight. All of our members adhere to our National Model Aircraft Safety Code, and we offer a variety of programs, training, opportunities, and so forth. One example of what the Academy does, it provides membership or our members with assistance at obtaining and maintaining flying sites. This includes on-site selection, layout, and operational procedures. This provides added margins of safety to the increasing numbers of model aircraft flyers and spectators. For newcomers to the hobby, AMA offers an introductory pilot program. It is done through our chartered clubs throughout the country, and the program allows for non-AMA members to fly under the supervision of a club instructor and learn how to safely operate a model aircraft before committing to the hobby. These are just a couple examples of ways in which the AMA has, for decades, facilitated the safe and responsible operations of model aircraft under the community-based guidelines and programs. We are proud to lend our expertise and experience to the Know Before You Fly campaign. Our organization exists to advance modeling as a hobby and also to do it in its safest possible manner. With the proliferation of flyers, we could not think of a more worthwhile and timely effort. We're proud to join forces with our fellow founding members at AUVSI and the Small UAV Coalition, and we're thankful for the FAA's partnership to help spread the campaign's message and for the support of our newest advocate, the Experimental Aircraft Association. With that, I'll turn it over to Sean Elliott, the Vice President of Advocacy and Safety for the EAA. Sean?
Thank you, Bob. Well, good morning. Needless to say, we are very happy to be here, not only to participate and show the support that we absolutely have with an EAA for this program, the Know Before You Fly campaign, but also when Rick and I left Oshkosh, Wisconsin yesterday, it was 5 below zero. So it is fantastic to be out here in sunny Southern California with all of you today. You know, Rick Larson's a fellow senior leader with me at EAA, and he and I have also been not only full-size pilots, but modelers. Rick, where are you at? Thank you. Rick Larson's over on the corner there. Rick has been a member of AMA since the 60s, and I've been involved with AMA since the 1970s. And we've also been at EAA a very long time as well. The two communities are parallel universes. You could go to an AMA chapter, or excuse me, a club event or an EAA chapter event, and close your eyes and have a hard time recognizing which community you are actually at, because they both have very, very similar people, culture, ideals, and certainly responsible freedoms in aviation. And that's why EAA is here today to support this fantastic campaign. We really have a history of supporting, as an organization, and promoting responsible freedoms, innovation, and safety in all aspects of aviation. And a campaign such as this falls right in the middle of how EAA approaches innovations, freedoms, and responsible safety in aviation. So we're very excited to be here today. On behalf of our 185,000 members worldwide, we are confident that EAA can help promote this message and bring this out to those in the community that are getting a taste of aviation and having that wonderful exposure to what flight is all about in any facet or form. So with that, thank you for having us here, Bob, and the distinguished panel here to the right as well. I'm going to introduce Tyler Collins. Tyler is with Precision Hawk, and he's also a member of the Small UAV Coalition. Tyler?
Thank you, Sean, and thank you for the invite to represent the Small UAV Coalition today. My name is Tyler Collins. I'm the Director of Business Development for Precision Hawk. I'm honored to speak with you today on behalf of the Small UAV Coalition, a collective that brings together leading technology companies to pave the way for commercial, philanthropic, and civil use of small UAVs in the US and abroad. Precision Hawk became a member shortly after the coalition was founded last year, and we have been very encouraged by what the collective has been able to achieve in only a few short months. This month alone, we were invited to meet with the members of Congress in DC to discuss constructive and realistic technical standards and SUAV operations. That being said, while the Small UAV Coalition is comprised of the heavy hitters in the commercial UAV space, we are also looking to support the recreational use of small UAVs for hobbyists. Precision Hawk and our other coalition counterparts have a vested interest in the success of this industry. In order to change public opinion and move regulations forward, it's important that we continue to showcase the positive applications as well as educate users across the spectrum on safe and responsible operations. As is so often the case when it comes to rapidly evolving technologies, the law is struggling to keep up with the surge of the popularity of the unmanned aerial vehicles. Regardless of the enthusiasm surrounding the industry and a massive increase in sales, the right educational material can still be difficult to find. The Know Before You Fly campaign is a very proactive step to better educate users and promote what a huge and positive impact this industry can have if we flyers understand and respect the rules of the skies. This group, the Small UAV Coalition, AUVSI, the Experimental Aircraft Association, and the AMA, represents the vast majority of UAS users and manufacturers, all with a mutual interest to promote safe and responsible flying. As a coalition member, we look forward to this campaign with our clients across the industries and adopting its key messages to promote within our own products and offerings. I'll now turn it off to Michael Toscano, the President and CEO of AUVSI.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Mike Toscano. I'm the President and CEO of AUVSI, the Association for Unmanned Vehicle Systems International. I'm going to go off script here. It's going to drive them a little crazy, but this program is based upon Know Before You Fly. And just in its generic title, it says it's not directed towards you. The AMA has been flying safely for over 77 years. But this past Christmas and the holiday season, we saw a tremendous flux of drones being given as Christmas presents or gifts. So between 8 and 80-year-olds now have one of these capabilities or this technology in hand, and they're out there flying these systems. Or you're not supposed to fly in crowded areas or populated areas. I see a lot of heads nodding in the positive. That's why this campaign was started. That's why we have affiliation with the AMA, and we're very excited and thrilled to have the EAA join us. And just last week, we had the Consumer Electronic Association join as well. We partnered with the FAA. They recognize how important this is, and we're also getting more and more organizations that are joining in this campaign. It is important for all of us to make sure that the national airspace, anything that flies in it, does so in a safe manner. So Know Before You Fly is just that. It's an educational campaign that will allow us to be able to disseminate good information to people that maybe don't know, or in some cases, they may not understand the ramifications of their actions. I used an example earlier this week that if you took a hammer and threw it in the middle of a crowd, you would be held accountable if something bad happened with that. The same thing is true if you fly a drone into a crowd and something bad happens. So we have pamphlets, we have information that are available for you to take and disseminate as well. And if you see anybody flying in an unsafe manner, it's incumbent upon all of us. This is your tradition, this is your history that is at stake if these men and women, these people out there, don't understand the do's and the don'ts of how to fly safely in the national airspace. So we're very excited about this program. It's just the first stop or a first step, and we will constantly be upgrading the information. As was mentioned, we have the website, and I'm going to repeat it. It's www.knowbeforeyoufly.org. You can go to that site. If you think there's information that's missing from that site, send us an email, call us, pick up the phone, let us know. Get with Bob and Richard and David and let them know that this is also other information. If there's ideas that you have of how we can disseminate this information to those people that are utilizing this technology, let us know. We're here to make sure that the safety record that the AMA has produced over the last 77 years is that of everyone else. If that's the case, then we're going to be able to utilize this technology, not just in a recreational hobbyist, but also in a commercial application, and to be able to do those things that they do best. Unmanned systems or drones do two things very well. They're very good at situational awareness, and they're very good at delivery. We can actually save lives and save money and allow the creation of new jobs and technology. This is a phenomenal technology that has emerged. You've been a part of it for many, many years. Now we're trying to make sure we educate the world. So with that, I'm going to stop at this point in time and turn it over to Q&A. So we do have a roving microphone out here, and we have a first question here. If you don't mind just identifying who you are, and then ask the question, and we'll go from there.
Thank you. I'm Matt Thurber from Aviation International News. And my question is, I wonder if somebody on the panel could help drone small radio-controlled aircraft users understand what the FAA's definition of a commercial operation is.
Anybody want to take that one? What's the FAA's definition of commercial?
FAA's definition of commercial, basically, if any kind of monies change hands, it's commercial.
Okay, so a real estate agent using their own drone to shoot pictures of a client's house would not be a commercial operation.
Wrong.
But it's legal for that agent to use their own helicopter to shoot pictures of that client's house. Why shouldn't it be legal to do the same with a drone? Is there a dichotomy here between the FAA's definition of commercial for real aircraft and for drones?
No, unfortunately there's not. As Bob just correctly described, we deal with this all the time, even on the full-size side of the house, in that the FAA doesn't look at it as just compensation. Anything in the way of benefit or furtherance of a business is also considered commercial operations. So if it's something that is benefiting your business in the way of promoting your business or being an attribute of your business, absolutely they look at it as commercial. We see this all the time in proper credentialing of full-size pilots, whether or not you have to have a commercial pilot certificate. It's the same dichotomy. And I'm not here at all to say it's right or clear. There's a lot of gray area, there's a lot of fuzziness, but unfortunately, more often than not, the agency tends to fall on the conservative side and say, yes, it's commercial if it has anything to do with benefit compensation. For example, our Young Eagles program, if a Young Eagles pilot receives free fuel, they consider that compensation. So,
but what about a corporate flight department that uses their own aircraft to further their business? That's not a commercial operation.
well, in fact, it is. What it's not is it's not a Part 135 or Part 121 operation. But the pilots have to be commercial pilots. You can't have a private pilot flying a corporate jet. And you have to have certain parameters met in order to operate that as an official flight department that's an extension of the corporation. So in fact, it is.
So if I use my drone to shoot pictures and then publish it on our website, that's commercial operation?
First of all, we can have a further conversation on this, and it's a great dialogue, but you hit upon a very important point. The rules and the clarity are not there at this point in time. But the terminology is that it is unauthorized at this point in time. All of the aviation rules that we have, and we do have an exemption through the FAA Modernization Act of February 14th, 2012, there is a Section 333 and a Section 336. 336 does address the recreational hobbyist side of the house. But I will tell you, this is a revolutionary technology on an evolutionary path. This is no different than we've seen with any other technology that has changed the way that we live. So the rules have got to catch up or be addressed. And this will, back in 1918, if you drove a car in San Francisco, you had to have a person with a red flag walking in front of it. That was the law at the time. Well, obviously, when the infrastructure changed and things in the technology matured, we changed those rules. You will see rules being changed. They will be changed by virtue of the maturation of the technology, the utilization by people, and what the public and society says is going to be acceptable for what is risk acceptance. Before I go any further, let me also introduce Rich Hansen from the AMA has joined us up here on the stage as well. He is obviously a subject matter expert as it pertains in one of the leaders in the AMA side of the house. Did anybody else want to answer that question? We sit over here. Okay, there's a hand in the back. Can we get the microphone? And sir, if you want, we can talk afterwards.
I'm with Channel 7. So if I want to get a drone and I want to fly it and I want to shoot pictures of something and I want to make money off of that, what do I need to do?
Okay, well, you can, one, call the FAA, and the first thing that they're going to say is you can do it through a COA process, or you can submit through the 333 exemption. And basically what that says, if you can prove to them that you can operate in a safe and responsible way, which they've already approved 12 exemptions under that. So the movie industry, agriculture, gas stacks, several others, and you can go onto their website. It is very difficult, or I'm saying it's very onerous at this point in time. There is efforts in place to try to mitigate the steps and procedures in order to get there. But I will say, this is all about safety. And none of us want to have an incident that happens in the national airspace on how this goes forward. It will affect all of us. So do we have the right rules in place to operate in a safe and responsible way? That is what we're giving to. This is all about risk acceptance. Because at some point in time, there will be an incident that will take place. There isn't any technology that we don't have that doesn't have a downside to it. Whether, anything that we have, and I can go through other examples with you as far as well. So the answer to your question is if you want to do it for a commercial application, the only way that you can do it legally the way that I know of is through a COA process or through the exemption of the 333. Question down here in the front. I'm sorry, anybody else want to jump on that one? Yes.
Hi, my name is Lawrence Moody, and I wanted to know, is there a website where people, you can list the restriction or restricted areas, and if, let's say, something changes where it becomes available for someone to fly their drone, is there any way of keeping up to date and putting out that information to where someone can just, periodically check it, to see if what's flyable or what's restricted? I live between two airports, Santa Monica and LAX. I know they're off limits. You know, I live too close to both of them. However, there is a area at Venice Beach where it says I'm allowed to fly. It's a very small space, and I was wondering, is there any way of getting a up-to-date map that will tell me, okay, this is restricted, or this has become unrestricted, and you can fly there?
After this is over, let me give you $20 because that's a great question that you asked. There are two parts to this, and I think I may turn it over, to Tyler here. But there are companies that are developing software that'll have geofencing or the ability to block off every known airport that we have from a standpoint of the firmware or the software being generated. But to answer your question, AMA, their website has the do's and don'ts. We do have an agreement with Amazon now when they ship that they'll tell you if you're going to use this for commercial applications, go to the AMA website. If you're going to use this for a commercial application, go to AUVSI's website. So we are trying to disseminate all the best information that tells you the do's and don'ts that exist right now for any aircraft. Obviously, you all know that you can't fly below 400, 500 feet because there's things like, cell towers, balloonists, hang gliders, and all the other things that happen to be there. The Washington Monument is 555 feet high. So 400 feet and below, that's not that high up. And if you have a fixed-wing aircraft flying in that space, you have the potential to have a really bad day. And so that's why we've got to disseminate this information to people to make sure that we don't have one of those incidents. Tyler, do you want to jump in this one?
Just a brief moment. And to touch on his points as well, there are so many commercial companies today developing technologies to complement the autopilot systems that might be on some of these unmanned aircraft, especially the ones that are flying not at the AMA fields under full manual control, such as the quadcopters, the UAVs that are out doing commercial work. So there are companies developing modular additions to those autopilots, and even the autopilot manufacturers as well, being able to automatically build in the locations to where it knows where all of the airports are, it knows where all of the cell phone towers are, it knows where every obstacle over 100 feet is. And part of that technology as well that's being developed is the ability to do sense and avoid on small unmanned aircraft, such as something like a DJI.
But basically what I'm asking is, but if an area, let's say at a park, was first restricted, then becomes unrestricted, is there anybody that will let us know, okay, now you're able to fly there and keep up to date with where we can fly, where we can't fly, because things may change. Maybe a park says, okay, well, maybe we will allow you to fly here, maybe earlier, maybe they didn't allow you to fly. So will somebody keep us up to date?
Let's say, speaking for the Academy,
Right.
we try to keep everyone informed with as up-to-date material as possible.
Okay.
If you go to the AMA website, especially the AMA blog area, and watch the traffic on there, we try to advise you. To say that it's up-to-date, I don't think anyone knows what up-to-date really means.
Right.
But we try, and for example, TFRs, temporary flight restrictions, they're on there daily. They're, for example, out in this area, they are specific for this area. If you're an AMA member or a club, you're probably notified for the area. There will be a gentleman speaking later on that will address the issue of TFRs directly. He is from the FAA, and we're trying to inform you. Believe me, to say that we're going to be able to tell you what's going to happen in the next 24 hours, that's tough. We'll do our best, but that's...
Just to touch on that just a little bit, as Tyler mentioned and Michael mentioned, there's a lot of things happening in the industry to help develop this infrastructure. Everything from software and firmware that'll help you know where you can and can't fly, as well as infrastructure that'll create pathways and create routings when we are eventually allowed to go beyond visual line of sight. One of the things, without speaking out of school here, I think I can mention is the FAA is currently working on an app, a mobile app that will work off of your iPhone or an Android device that will basically, since the phone knows where you're at, will tell you the airspace restrictions around you, whether you're near an airport, whether you're near a restricted area, whether you're in an area where they've issued a temporary flight restriction. I don't think it'll drill down to whether a park has been authorized for use by a local community, but it will give you the information about the airspace, and I think that's supposed to come out this spring.
I'm going to turn it over to Sean real quick.
Well, actually, for the three of us, Rich, Mike, and myself, we wanted to make sure that we emphasize, and I think all of you are aware, that there is a rule being developed right now, a proposed rule, an NPRM, for small UAS operations. And the FAA has obviously spent a considerable amount of time finishing this effort. When this rule, this proposed rule, does hit the street, it's going to have a comment period. More than likely, the three of our organizations will be petitioning to extend that to the maximum, 120 days. And it's very, very important that all of us in the community take the time to understand what that proposed rule states, take issue with anything we have concerns about, and comment. The AMA put out a request for comment on the interpretive rule that absolutely blew the doors off of the agency as far as numbers. Over 30,000 letters of comment came back to that interpretive rule. We need double that, if not more, when this SUAS NPRM hits the streets. So please, please keep aware of that. Obviously, you'll have great organizations advocating on your behalf, but you as individuals need to do something about that too and make your comments heard.
Okay, did that answer your question? Okay, and by the way, if you're flying for recreational purposes, you already know what the rules are of how you should do it. You guys have been doing it for 77 years in a very proficient and acceptable way, so just keep doing what you're doing. By the way, like I said, this rule, or I'm sorry, this program, this educational campaign is to get to the masses that don't have the passion or the heritage that many of the AMA folks have. So again, just keep that in mind. Any other questions? Over here.
Yes, sir. I'm Brian Wood. I'm from Boise, Idaho, and I'm an active FPV user and a ham radio operator as well. One thing I do not see anybody addressing at all is the ham radio aspect of this. These people don't realize that some of the frequencies that they're transmitting on are in the active ham band range, and they don't realize that technically is a $10,000 fine every time they turn on that switch if they do not have the proper credential. So my question to you is, are you guys addressing this on the AMA level or on the UAS level so that folks aren't getting themselves in trouble? Because you can go on any of the websites and buy the products, and it'll say you might need something, but there's nothing being done to even get that word out to people.
You know, that's an excellent point, and as a first cut, you're seeing what we have available. But we've all recognized that there are still technical challenges. No one really questions the ability to fly, drive, or navigate, but the question is how safely can you do it? And I believe that both power and spectrum and frequency or secured wireless communications is one of the technical challenges that we still face today. So your point is very well received. Let us take this back to, and we'll sit down and go through this to see if we need to put more information out there, but you are spot on when you say you're gonna have hundreds of thousands of these things flying out there at frequencies which they have no idea what frequencies they're flying at or understand what ramifications of that may be. So excellent point, we'll take it back into consideration and we'll see about, again, we're gonna keep updating this information as we get more and more points that come available. So thank you, excellent point. Hold on, you got it right here.
Right here. I just wanted to mention that we do have it on the AMA website. If you go to the AMA website and you go on the Advanced Flight Systems Committee, go on the documents section, it'll go down and you'll find information regarding the application of radio systems, what frequencies, when you have to go out there, when you have to go to the Amateur Radio Relay League and be able to take and utilize this equipment, which frequencies you want to work with if you're using telemetry to have the systems talk to each other, what frequencies you have to work on for your control systems. We're now looking at systems that utilize, as Michael is and the other people have brought up, they use your cell phone as the control device. So you're going to have to look at, is my cell phone GPS enabled? Can it be used to use a follow me system or something like that? So if you want to know these kinds of things, Go to the AMA website. We're trying to keep up with the current safety programs, the new functionalities, and you're going to see a lot of new functionalities coming out. What we're recommending that we do now is to work with the community members as well, people that are engaged in building and manufacturing these things, and saying to them, listen guys, we can help you. Send us information about prototyping, about functionality, about the kinds of things that you want to apply to these systems. So what we'll do is we'll develop for you safety means to operate them safely. The biggest functionality out there right now happens to be Follow Me. It's driving the industry. It's going to continue to drive the industry because why? It's engaged in active sports. So now we got an opportunity to say to these guys that are engaged in these active sports, listen, come to us. How can you do this and still be safe? And there are ways to do that. We can incorporate two people, not just one person, a spotter and someone else. We have to have people buy radio systems. If you're going out to buy today a radio or a drone, you want to look for that type of system that allows for dual control into your autopilot system so that if you have a need, you have another person there to be able to take over control. So we have visual line of sight, and we have to have the ability to be able to deactivate autonomous systems. Enough said.
Okay, one more question. We got one in the back there. Oh.
Go ahead. They haven't had a chance.
Thank you. I was wondering, I don't do drone flying at all, but I like to have my hobby shops to survive. If I go to a Verizon store and the third-class salesman is going to sell drones, what is AMA doing to address the issue when hobby shops have to go bankrupt in a time like today where it should be very easy to make money? What's the game plan of AMA to ban, to sell those toys anywhere?
To say that we have a specific game plan, we do not. The game plan really evolves around you as the hobby shop owner or the AMA member to go out and discuss the problems with the people involved and try to teach them how to fly safely. To say that we're going to limit commerce, it's almost an impossible factor for the Academy to accommodate. However, if you don't buy from the group, it's the most vocal.
If you'd like, can you give the microphone one more time? And then I'm going to start with Richard, and we'll give everybody one last comment, and finish up with you, Bob.
Any person who flies radio controlled for a while will never buy a drone at the Verizon cell phone store. I'm talking about the random people who are just seeing us, liking this, and they want to start that out. So if you sell on a cell phone store a drone with a camera, I do not want anybody fly over my $30 million property. So please find solutions to address the problem, because today we should be able to make enough money to survive as a hobby shop. I don't own one by myself, but I have seen them go bankrupt the last year. And since about 3 years, we are in a very, very big boom of those drones. I mean, it should be very possible for him to make a little money. But if you guys don't get the big guys like Verizon under control, there's no way any hobby shop can do anything, you know.
I can make a comment. And speaking on behalf of the manufacturer side and Precision Hawk stance, we develop commercial UASs. So the small ones that are selling at Verizon, that's not us. But to touch on the topic, and you do have a good point, because it brings out who is purchasing these at the end of the day. It's not somebody that's typically going to go out of their way to go find an AMA field to become an AMA member. But at the same time, it's not illegal for a company to sell one of these to somebody. And I don't foresee that becoming a reality as well. So I think that's where an organization such as the AMA with the strides of Know Before You Fly is really being able to go out and working with these companies that are selling them. So if it's working with Verizon and becoming a friendly partner to them to educate them to be able to pass out the information, just like what you said Amazon is currently doing today, because you see the same exact thing. And where we saw it with this Christmas holiday, people purchasing them as gifts for families, loved ones that don't have any experience and don't know what the rules are. to where now Amazon is including information about the AMA, where to find good information of how to operate that safely. I think we'll see some of that come down through the technology side of what we allow that to do on a manufacturing basis. But it also comes down to us as a community to, if we see somebody at a park, to make sure that we pass along information if it looks like that they're not operating safely.
Okay, I'm going to give everybody one last opportunity for comments. Richard?
Yeah, thank you, Michael. The question didn't come up today, but since we launched this campaign just before Christmas, it has come up in emails, so I thought maybe I'd touch on it. A lot of AMA members have asked us, is this a change to AMA's safety program? Is this new guidance as to how the AMA members should be flying their model aircraft or multi-rotors if they happen to be flying multi-rotors? Actually, it's not. The AMA membership is under the AMA Safety Code in Section 336 of the reauthorization bill, which was the special rule for model aircraft that Congress passed in 2012, that basically said that those modelers that are operating within a community-based set of guidelines would then be exempt from future regulations regarding unmanned aircraft. So for the AMA member, your guidance is still the AMA Safety Code and related safety documents. And as you know, our hobby is very diverse. There's a lot of unique activities that lend themselves to unique safety guidelines. This program here is really derived from the core values of our safety code, but are extended to the unlearned people that are getting into this activity. We certainly would welcome all of them and hope that some of them do join our community and start operating under our complete safety program. But if they're going to fly, we obviously want them to fly safely and responsibly, because we're all in this together, and the bad press that comes from a mishap that might happen out there or something that someone is doing foolishly hurts us all. So it's in our best interest to reach out to this community and help them learn how to fly safely and responsibly.
Sure, I'll just conclude by saying, to add to what Rich just said, we have a long-standing tradition at EAA of finding education, not regulation, is the answer to solving problems in aviation, and frankly, improving and brightening our future. We're proud to be supporters of this program, this campaign. This is the way to do it. This is the way to get the word out and get people to understand how to do things in a responsible way, so you absolutely don't put your freedoms in jeopardy. And we're just happy to be here. Thank you.
I'm going to say just a few words, and I'll turn it over to Bob for the final one. But we are going to have a demonstration in the main ballroom right after this is over of flying a few drones. But all these, I have to echo the points that have just been stated here. We want this to be safe and responsible utilization of this phenomenal technology. We are also looking to include state, universities, aviation organizations. Anybody that wants to join this campaign to help spread the word, we welcome you to come in and approach us, and we'll put your logo on as a supporter of this as well. So if you have anybody that you know of, companies that you work with, or whatever, just get back in touch with us. So I'm going to turn it over to Bob for the final words for this session.
Thank you, Michael. I think it's quite evident to you folks that have been sitting here today, the Academy, along with several other groups, is working as a cooperative effort to try to resolve the issues that we currently face. You are part of the solution to the problem. It's up to each and every person to go out and demonstrate by your own flying how to do it safely. And second of all, if you are aware of people that don't fly in a proper manner, please, in a positive manner, correct their problems or at least illustrate their problems and have a safe flying day. Now, as Michael mentioned, if you go out the back door to the ballroom, there are a couple gentlemen over there with some new multi-rotors and a helicopter. I'm sure that you might be amazed at what can happen or what they can do. Please, if you have time, go over there and see what's going on. I thank you for being in attendance.